In this video, we will discuss Accounting 1, Fast Entry, Auto-Generate Voucher List Menu. Auto-Generate Voucher is a function that you can use at the end of each month to transfer inventory assets and income statement net income to balance sheet net income amount. In ECOUNT ERP, simply by entering ending amounts, you can have the program automatically generate accounting closing vouchers without having to manually journalize closing data. And you need to first set Auto-Generate settings by clicking Option at the top right and Set Auto-Generate. In Set Auto-Generate pop-up, you can see the default Auto-Generate settings that have been already set by ECOUNT. And if required, you can modify the settings, such as time of alternative journalization or set transfer settings. So firstly, in Auto Transfer Name field, the subject of each transfer is specified. And in Account Code Before Transfer field, each inventory asset account is entered. In Account Code After Transfer field, the account code that each inventory asset will be transferred to is entered, and each account corresponds to its before account. Raw material expenses account for raw material account, and cost of merchandise sold account for merchandise, and cost of finished goods sold account for finished goods, and so forth. And for time of alternative journalization column, the default setting is the end of every month. You can change the setting to the end of every accounting year, the end of March and September, etc. Also, if you click Set Transfer button, you can set the base amount of transfer. If you select Default Ending Amount, you can set the ending amount to 0 or the same as the beginning amount, or beginning plus purchase of the month. And if you select Set Transfer Amount option, you can manually enter a fixed ending amount in Transferred Amount field. And if you save, the amount entered here will be always set as ending amount by default. So for an accurate accounting closing, before starting the accounting closing of a month, you need to first enter the beginning balance of the end of the previous month of the closing month for inventory asset accounts such as merchandise, raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. You can do so in Accounting 1, Fast Entry, New Balance Adjustment menu. And for how to enter the beginning balance, please refer to video tutorial, Practice, Accounting 1 New Balance Adjustment video. And if you do not want to use Auto-Generate Voucher function for closing, you can instead go to Option, Set Auto-Generate, and set the time of transfer, journalization, to Do Not Transfer, and save. And then use manual journal entry of General Journal menu each time you need to close. So, to begin with the video, we will discuss the inventory closing of merchandise. I have already entered the beginning balance of merchandise account as of the end of October. So based on the beginning balance, the Auto-Generate Voucher of November has been generated in the screen. We will click on the voucher date and view the details. In order to transfer the amount of merchandise, you need to enter the ending amount of the month. And since the beginning column displays the ending amount of the previous month, we can see that October's ending amount of merchandise is $3,000. And in Increase column, if merchandise purchase is generated during the closing month, November, that amount will be automatically pulled. So right now, I will enter a new purchase invoice of merchandise with November set as the date. And after saving, in order to accurately apply the purchase, I will run update balance for accounting in reports module. Then if you go to auto generate voucher menu and click the voucher, so the beginning amount of merchandise is $3,000 and increase amount is $1,000, which means $4,000 in total is available for the sales of November. Then you can enter the ending amount as of the end of November and click Save button at the bottom. So I will enter $1,000 as the ending balance of merchandise as of the end of November, so that $3,000 are counted as transferred amount. And I will click Save button. After saving, you can verify the data you've entered in Income Statement. In Accounting 1, Reports, Income Statement, if you search by November, you can see cost of merchandise sold entered as $3,000. So in this way, you can process the closing of merchandise. And moving on, we will discuss how to process inventory closing of finished goods. So in order to close finished goods, it is required to enter the ending amount of raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. And the first step is to enter the ending amount of raw materials. In the beginning column, the ending amount of the previous month will be automatically pulled. And from the amount displayed here, you can see that the raw material ending amount of October is $1,000. And in increase column, just like merchandise, the raw material purchases of the corresponding month will be automatically applied. And as for work in process, the transferred amount of raw materials combined with the labor cost and overhead costs that have been put in manufacturing during November will be counted as increase amount. And for finished goods as well, the transferred amount of work in process will be pulled to increase amount. And in ending column, for work in process, you can enter the amount of the finished goods and work in process that have not been turned into finished goods and which remain as semi-finished. For finished goods ending amount, enter the amount of the finished goods remaining after sales. So start by entering the ending amount of raw materials. If you enter $500 as ending amount, the program will sum the beginning amount, $1,000, with the increase amount, $1,000, and then subtract the ending amount, $500, and calculate the transfer amount as $1,500. Then click Save to apply. Next, enter the ending amount of work in process and finished goods, $1,000 respectively. After saving the entered data, we will check the data in accounting books. In Reports module, you can use income statement or schedule of cost. So firstly, for an accurate calculation, run update balance for accounting. Then in Accounting 1, Reports, Schedule of Cost menu, we will search by November and compare the report with the closing voucher. So the transferred amount of raw materials has been applied to schedule of cost as raw material expenses. And by summing up the raw material transfer amount in labor cost and overhead cost, the total cost is being displayed in schedule of cost, which is also marked in auto-generate voucher as the increased amount of work in process. And for the transferred amount of work in process, it will be marked as total cost of the corresponding month in schedule of cost, cost in this period. And next, if you move on to income statement and search by November, for the merchandise closing amount, that is, the transferred amount of merchandise, in income statement it will be displayed as cost of merchandise sold account. Also for the finished goods closing amount, that is, the transferred amount of finished goods, in income statement it will be displayed as cost of finished goods sold. And so far we have discussed how to use auto-generate voucher function for inventory asset closing. And in addition, if your company manages a large amount of inventory assets, and if it's hard to count the exact amount, you can use the inventory module of ECOUNT ERP and load the inventory amount from the inventory module and easily process accounting closing. In Inventory 2, Costing, New Costing menu, you can first generate a new costing and then load the generated data to Auto-Generate Voucher menu and create the closing data. In New Costing menu, costing is generated based on the data entered in Inventory 1 Purchase and Production module. And labor cost and overhead expenses will be applied to the costing as well. And for how to generate a new costing, please refer to Inventory 2 Costing, New Costing video.